Hi, Dave Shroder here with your UK Boxing Roundup on Weighing In with Travis Hartman. I want to take this opportunity straight off the bat to wish you all a very happy new year. I hope 2024 has everything you wish for. Certainly got some great boxing lined up ahead of us. And this gives us an opportunity at this point of the year to look back on 2023 and see what's happened in the UK and give out some awards for some of the different categories of what's happened in the UK. So we're going to go through a couple of things: prospects of the year, KO of the year, fight of the year, and fighter of the year. And I give you, my goal here is to not necessarily tell you about, oh, Tyson Fury did this and Anthony Joshua did that. It's some people that you might not have seen on US TV that you might need to go and have a quick look on YouTube and then take a look at. But these are exciting prospects and exciting fighters in the UK, and really a chance for you to look at something a bit different. So if we start with prospects of the year, this was probably the toughest category for me. There's a number of really good fighters that didn't make my kind of shortlist here or make my award. Ben Whittaker being one, and I urge you to take a look at Ben Whittaker. Maybe just a little bit too soon, but he's a great up-and-coming fighter with a lot of ability, and someone who's very, very exciting and is going to sell tickets. But I whittled it down really to two, and I really struggled to split these. Caroline Dubois on the women's side. She's the sister of Daniel Dubois, the heavyweight who won recently. She fights anywhere between sort of 130 pounds to 140 pounds. She's happy to go up and down in weight to chase big fights. She's currently 8-0. She possesses power not dissimilar to her brother, really. She's a strong knockout fighter who has recently just gone the distance in her last fight, so she can box as well. She's someone who I've got really high expectations of going into 2024. And she next fights in February on the same bill as ultimately my favourite prospect in the UK right now. And that's Adam Azim. Adam Azim is the European super lightweight champion. He's 10-0. He fought recently against an Italian guy, beat him handily. He's really, really good. He's chasing down and calling out Teofimo Lopez, which might be a little bit early, but I've definitely got money on him becoming a world champion in 2024. His stated goal and his stated aim is to be a world champion by the time he's 22. He's currently 21. He sells tickets. He's exciting. He's got knockout power. And he's a real prospect for the UK in that sort of super lightweight division. Someone I think that you should definitely take a look at. We then roll that into KO of the year, knockout of the year. Now, knockout of the year is actually a knockout that involves a UK fighter getting knocked out. I've watched Joe Joyce's career since he was in the Olympics, and maybe a little bit before then. And I'm maybe overselling it a little bit here in saying that his style was similar to kind of old George Foreman, but he would walk through shots to land a shot. He was known as the juggernaut, great engine. He'd just keep walking forward and had what was considered to be an unbreakable chin. Was really considered the top tier chin in the heavyweight division, so therefore probably top 10 chin anywhere in the world. He got stopped by Zhilei Zhang earlier on, and in the rematch, but it wasn't a knockout, it was just a referee stoppage. In the knockout, Zhilei Zhang, who's a big southpaw Chinese, probably now top 4 or 5 heavyweight in the world after this, knocked him out absolutely cold. It was a brutal knockout. I don't think I'd ever thought I would ever see Joe Joyce face down on the canvas, out cold. Absolutely sparked him. Now, maybe it's a case of styles make fights and Zhang just has Joyce's number, but it was not expected. It was pretty brutal, and I would absolutely recommend you looking it up on YouTube and watching it. It was a great shot from the southpaw Zhang, right hook, great effort. If we roll that in now to fight of the year, there were so many good fights in the UK this year, so many. This was it took me a long time to rewatch them all and see what I liked. And it was really 3 that I took it down to. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. These two just do not like each other. And it was a really good fight. Warrington was heavy favourite. He's considered a real world-class fighter in the UK. And Wood, well liked, but maybe was considered to just come up short here. And he was getting beat pretty soundly through the first sort of 7 rounds or so, and he ended up turning it around and winning, stopping Warrington, and it could have been KO of the year as well. It was a great knockout. It was definitely under contention for KO of the year for me as well. But it was a superb fight and really, really exciting. Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron. These 2-minute round fights in the women's division took me a while to get used to the pace and the tempo of them, but they are all action from start to finish. They just go foot to the floor for the whole 120 seconds of each round. And this was no different. It was a great fight. I feel a bit for Cameron. She constantly has to keep going to Ireland to fight Taylor, despite her being the champion. It doesn't necessarily seem right. But she ended up losing this one, but it was a close fight and it was an absolute war. And showed Katie Taylor's greatness as well in being able to keep going. That was something that I thoroughly recommend you watch. But for me, the fight of the year, again, it's another British fighter losing, but Beterbiev versus Yard. Yard is from my part of the UK. He's from East London. He's been on a bit of an unbeaten run, but he wasn't setting the world on fire, and he was considered heavy underdog for this fight. And for at least 8 or 9 rounds, he was beating Beterbiev, and this is Beterbiev's probably his toughest fight to date. Certainly his toughest fight for a long time. But Yard ultimately came up short. But what a fight it was, and he's done himself no disservice there, Yard, at all, and actually has now put himself in line for other great fights off the back of that. I would honestly say, if you can watch any one fight on YouTube this year that you haven't already seen, look up Beterbiev versus Yard. It was an excellent fight. Rolling into our final category, Fighter of the Year, British Fighter of the Year. We haven't got a ton of world champions anymore in the UK. It's a little bit of a barren run. Outside of the heavyweight division, which, with the exception of Usyk, is a British division now, really, and maybe the cruiserweight division, we don't have tons going on. But in that cruiserweight division, Chris Billam-Smith had a fantastic year, winning the world title, obviously wrestling around with Lawrence Okoli previously, but he managed to defend that in his hometown, which is not a big town in the UK, but loads of people came out and saw it, and it was a really good year for Chris Billam-Smith, who rightly should be considered amongst the British Fighters of the Year. But for me, the British Fighter of the Year is Lee Wood. Lee Wood, I love the story, I love the fight. The fight was fantastic. They did a great job of billing it as like 2 soccer teams going against each other. And it was just a fantastic event, a great fight, and a great year for Lee Wood, who's now opened up the potential for a number of massive fights. I'm certain you'll see him in the US in 2024. And I'm certain that if you go back and watch that, you'll be really impressed with him and his ability to just kind of dig in and finish that fight the way he did. Like I say, my goal here is to give you a bit of information about stuff you might not have seen. I don't think really, other than Beterbiev Yard, I don't think any of those fights were readily available in the US. So I really do recommend you go back, have a look on YouTube, have a look through, and let me know what you think of them. So I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you all a happy 2024. Cards start up again in the UK this week, next week. So I'll be back to update you with what's going on. And have a great 2024.